Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, fillies and gentlecolts, dragons of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Pondering Pony. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. He doesn't talk, he howls. Jay. I ain't afraid of no ghost. Anyway, this is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. And this week we are back for Generation 1 of My Little Pony and Friends, talking about The Ghost of Paradise Estate, the first of the four-part story. So, yeah.
Yeah. For context, this was released September 29 through October 2nd, 1986. So this is, of course, after the movie and after the end of Flutter Valley, and this has the same listed directors as the end of Flutter Valley. And since it's a long list of people, I'm not going to list them all out. You can look that up, or I think because this is a show and they weren't crediting the directors on each individual episode, as you said last time, they're just kind of crediting everyone who got director's credits over the course of the show. So it ends up being like 15 people.
Yeah, a lot of people.
But yeah, it's written by George Arthur Bloom with animation by Sunbrow Productions, Marvel Productions, and Toei Animation. Music once again by Rob Walsh and songs by Tommy Goodman.
Yes, George Arthur Bloom, who had written pretty much everything previously. I believe this will be his last written thing for this series, so
Okay.
it'll be a while before we see him again.
Don't know if I'm sad to see him go, given the quality of some of these stories, but we'll see what comes next. If that was him, or if that was just the style of the series kind of having its own limitations.
I mean, both. I mean, he laid the groundworks for something.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the story of this four-part story is the ponies of Paradise Estate begin seeing a ghost haunting their home. The baby ponies, that is. And Megan is skeptical until she sees the ghost for herself. And they chase the ghost out, where it reveals itself to actually be a shape-shifting bird named Pluma. And Pluma explains that many years ago the valley was covered in water and ruled by the evil octopus squid Squirk. And Squirk used an amulet called the Flash Stone to rule with an iron tentacle and its lasers. And Pluma's grandfather stole the Flash Stone and broke it in two, causing the waters to recede. That's not the true, that's just aging. And he hid one in half in a river, and the other he just kind of threw into the valley. However, Squirk managed to kidnap Pluma's grandfather and is holding him hostage until she gives him the amulet back. And Pluma destroys Paradise Estate, revealing one half of the amulet underneath. How lucky. And she tries to use it to rebuild the estate, but it only rebuilds half. And the ponies agree to help Pluma so that they can get their home back. And one group heads down to Squirk's lair to rescue Pluma's grandfather, while the others search for the second half of the Flash Stone. Squirk shows up and manages to steal the half of the Flash Stone and uses it to find the other half. And with the completed medallion, he begins flooding the land. And the ponies were able to trap him. And Buttons uses her magic to make to take the medallion. And Squirk is once again defeated. And after using the Flash Stone to rebuild Paradise Estate, Megan destroys it so it can never be used for evil again. Or so she says. And Pluma apologizes for her part in everything and leaves. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I think my complaint is going to be kind of obvious. There's no ghost in the Ghost of Paradise Estate.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, here's my journey to this. Because you put together this whole document of all of the different episodes. And as I'm looking through it and, putting together the schedule, I'm like, oh, Ghost, that sounds fun, but I won't get my hopes too high because this is My Little Pony. It's probably going to be something different. And then, I was seeing more images and stuff of like, oh, there is like actually a ghost here, huh? That's interesting. And but I'm still gonna like maybe that's nothing. The first episode starts and it's like, oh no, there is actually a ghost here, and it's like very Scooby Doo ghost type, just the animation, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. It's a ghost story. And then episode 2, it's like, actually no, and we're
It's
done
a
with the
bird.
ghost, and we're done
It's
with
a
Paradise
bird.
Estate. Forget all of that stuff. That was meaningless.
Yeah, honestly, it's really weird how the rest, the other three parts compared to the first part, just feel very different. It's
Yeah.
like it's almost as if it started initially as a ghost story, but then they changed their mind partway through.
Yeah.
Because we also lose a good half of our protagonists into parts two, because part one was just all about the baby ponies, and after that we don't really see them again after part one. We're just, I don't know what happened to them. And
Yeah.
also, the animation team didn't get the memo that the ghost is actually blue. So it changed colors in between episodes, which is,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a thing. Yeah, no, I remember watching this and be like, oh, ghosts, okay, yeah, that's gonna be a thing, and it turned to a bird. I was like, oh, that's different, interesting, but yeah, like you said, we were expecting more Scooby Doo, and we got something different.
See, here's the thing. I was so excited when I was like, "Oh, they're actually doing ghosts," and I shouldn't have been because this is My Little Pony. But I was like, "Oh, this is interesting. This is like a different plot structure than what we've had in the past." And we're like, as anyone who is familiar with this podcast probably knows, I enjoy like spooky and spooky adjacent stuff. And even
Hmm.
though like obviously the ghost here is not spooky, it's very very kiddish, very Scooby Doo. But I was having fun with it. And then they're like, no, we're introducing new species and new bad guys, and it's just kind of the same general plot we've done the last few episodes or few arcs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. No ghost here. No
uh,
ghost here.
there was one line which once we find out that it wasn't a ghost, but when the ponies are talking about the ghost and Megan goes, there's no such thing as ghosts, obviously. It's like, Megan, you live in a magical valley full of talking ponies, and there are like giant talking bees and like fur balls
The
that talk.
Stratodons.
Yeah.
um,
But no, ghosts, nope. That's not a thing.
I'm drawing the line there. When all of them say that there was a ghost, nah, not gonna believe them at all. Even
And
though
then,
they are baby ponies, but still.
yeah, yeah. And then she does end up actually being correct, which is a little bit frustrating because I was excited. I was excited for her to have her comeuppance of not
Oh,
believing in the ghost and then be
oh,
like, oh, the ghosts are actually real. Oh no. Now I
oh!
have to solve this problem.
You think Megan's gonna learn the lesson here? No, she is the shadow leader of the group.
I
You know, she's Palpatine, like manipulating things in the shadows. She destroys the amulet. She says it's to prevent evil from taking it, but I think she has alternative reasons for it.
okay, interesting. It I think it is prudent of the ponies to now have Megan living with them, given that she is the only one who seems capable of solving any of their problems at any given time.
I don't think that she's living with them. She just stayed over for the night.
Oh, maybe. But her siblings are
It
also
was
there.
weird. It was weird. Like we've established that they live in a home, so them just staying the night over at the Ponyland. Okay.
uh, yeah, yeah. This is definitely compared to the last arc, the end of Flutter Valley, which was so long. It's
Yeah.
nice to just have, it's It's 40 minutes. I think it is still a little long for 40 minutes. There's a lot of like plot cul-de-sacs, and I mean the whole first episode is basically meaningless
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
just, oh, there's a ghost, let's try and trap the ghost,
Hmm.
and then
So yeah,
that doesn't
this
matter to the
is
actual story.
this is pretty much the format for the rest of the show, or at least for
Okay.
the next half of this show. 40 minutes of this shorter, quote unquote, shorter story than End of Floater Valley. Decent length. Still could be shorter though.
Yeah,
More
just
concise,
like
that is.
three episodes would have been fine for this story. You know
Yeah.
what I would have preferred? Do the ghost as its own one-off 10-minute episode, and then do everything else in their own 3 minute or 3 10-minute episodes.
They could have done that, you know. They do 10-minute episodes. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
could have done that.
But no,
Um
no, it must be an arc. We must have the ghost and then be like, nope, no ghost here.
it's just a bird. And the bird is actually, stealing the magical amulet in order to free her grandfather who is imprisoned by a tyrannical squid. Um it being a squid is something. I was really excited when it was like, oh, the villain is a squid. You know what that means? Sea ponies. And then we don't get sea ponies. It's like, what?
Well, we do. We
They
don't.
show up for one scene,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and that's it. I was like, yeah, sea ponies, they're gonna be an active participant. But no. We don't even get sea ponies. We get baby sea ponies where
Yes, that's
they
true. That's
wear
true.
floaties.
Oh boy.
uh, yeah.
Yeah, I was not particularly compelled by any of the stuff in the last 3 episodes.
Yeah, I mean, lack of sea pony usage. The villain is a big squid who has, amulet. The amulet is like a very powerful device. It's like, it could do anything your thoughts wishes, and that sounds like a really cool weapon to have. I mean, it's a typical
Yeah.
wizard weapon to have, but like the squid, no imagination at all.
No.
Laser, laser.
Uh,
All he does is laser, and yeah, okay, that's not as fun.
and usually I'm into like the underwater stuff and the sea monsters and that kind of stuff, but there just wasn't anything interesting to latch on
And
to.
there was that one song where they were underwater, but that's about it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, Megan is our protagonist here.
Very skeptical. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Children tell you that there's a ghost while they ruin the room. That's a normal thing to have happen, but still, it's like,
I
Megan,
yeah.
you live in this magical land. Why don't you believe these things?
I find her very uncompelling as protagonists go, because she's the most consistent character in terms of she keeps showing up in these things. And I'm like, if she wasn't in the next one, I wouldn't care. I would forget about her existence entirely if she stopped showing up in these things.
Yeah, Megan, her most compelling episode was the first one, and then the next few, she's just the same character. Just
Yeah.
she's there to, to talk, to use her hands to open things, um, and be the unelected leader over everything. So
Yeah. She does have her siblings who are just kind of along for the ride for this one, though. As you put here, Danny is sort of the Fred of the group. He comes up with
yeah,
these traps to get the ghost.
yep. Danny's like the one who comes up with these traps. Um, his traps. That one trap that he made for the ghost. Just, I have no idea what his thought process is. Okay, I'm gonna balance this hard-boiled egg next to a pot and a book, and
Yeah.
there's a that makes no sense. He also just announces his plans to the villains. It's like, hey, can I say something? Like what? Get him, while looking up to the Pegasi. The plan works, but it's also like, why? You already signaled them with your mirror. Why do you need to give away your thing? Yeah, again, going back to Megan, I joke that she's breaking the amulet because she wants to like control how much power the pony has, and that's why she tends to keep the the locket, the rainbow locket, um, so that the ponies they
Yeah.
don't have any power over her. That's just my joke theory to have, because it's like, oh, cool, they have a weapon that they can use to rebuild their land. Nope, breaks it. No, no, she's a foreigner and she chooses their okay, it's yeah.
That would at least be something more interesting to do with her character. But yeah, they don't really give her much. We do have a few ponies that I don't know. I don't find any
They
of these ponies memorable.
no, I mean not yet. These ponies do stuff this episode. Buttons, she did most of the work in this episode with her telekinesis. She got them out of
Yeah.
traps. She was able to distill the amulet. Um, the ponies, they really struggle to use their magic. They have to huff and puff to use it.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot of rules of like, oh, they can't teleport unless it's unobstructed.
it's
So there
not it's
can't
not
be
it's
like
not even
a rope net in the way.
yeah, yeah, compared to like what we see with Twilight, where like, oh yeah, I can teleport with others long distances. I'm really good at short distances.
Uh-huh.
Do it without a breeze. Here it's like, oh, I gotta get a hernia, and I also can't go through an open rope. Also, we call it winking out instead of teleportation, um, which is just a funny way of calling it. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed this yet, but uh, not all ponies have the same abilities except for winking out.
Yes.
That's the only one that they have. But they also have their own unique abilities. So Buttons uses telekinesis. What does that have to do with Buttons? I don't know, but that's what she has. And Fizzy, she can make air bubbles because her cutie mark is like a fizzy drink, and those are like carbonated. So,
I don't
um,
know if you want to be like if your air bubble is like made entirely of CO2, that's not good.
oh, right, yeah, of course. But anyway, yeah, she makes the air bubbles more useful than you think. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. The other ponies, moral support and sarcasm, as usual,
Yeah.
so far.
That's
A lot of them in this episode. Too many to keep track of. Um, yeah,
yeah. That's honestly been a pretty consistent thing with these movies is that we're introduced to new ponies each time around and then they don't stick around. And then Megan isn't that interesting of a character. So there's nothing really of the good guys, there's no one all that interesting
that's why you gotta
to
look forward to the bad guys because they're like new and
Yeah.
like they're more interesting. Eventually you'll recognize ponies, but like for me, it took like a long time before I started recognizing ponies and being like, okay, I like this one. So, um, yeah,
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know that I'll ever get to that point with this cast of ponies unless they start showing up more consistently and having more memorable of designs.
it also took me a rewatch to even get more in love with others. So, I
Okay.
doubt you're gonna come back to this series.
No, I'm not
Uh,
planning on it.
yeah, baby ponies in the first episode. Um, yeah, they are baby ponies.
Yep.
I mean,
That's what they are
I'm more
ostensibly.
exasperated just because of like the whole. There's like almost two versions of each character, so
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
they're not very consistent with the naming of like who's who, and so you can sort of tell that these are smaller, but like again, they they're there, and they disappear in part two, and that's it. They
Uh
have no importance at all.
Now, one thing I will give these episodes credit for is the character of Pluma, who is slightly more interesting in terms of character motivation than we have usually seen. In that she is a good guy, but she is being forced to do bad things because the bad guy has her grandfather kidnapped.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course.
There's
That's
not
what we
much else
have.
to say about beyond that because that's all there
I,
is. But it's
I mean, she's
more
she's a
interesting than anything else here.
she's a shape shifting bird, which
Yeah,
is such a weird thing, but okay. The things that they shapeshift into is just like she turns into this mirror. At first, I thought it was a
yeah,
big spoon. I was like, oh, she's gonna dig her way out. No, it's just a big mirror. Then she turns into a big saw with her grandfather, and it's like the design of those things are odd.
yeah.
Um, she's also very scatterbrained, so her scenes take like double the length they should because she's trying to find the right words to explain everything and not really
Yeah.
explaining everything clearly. So, yeah.
And then yeah, the villain we have
She
Squirk, of course.
Squirk. So we did a bonus episode where we talk about unused episodes of
Yeah.
season 1, and we read that one script where it's like, oh, we were gonna get an episode with the sea ponies and this big kraken who was trying to take over the oceans. And as soon as I read that, I was like, oh, wait a minute, isn't that just the Squirk? Is that were they gonna do Squirk in G4? That hey, that
Yeah.
yeah, that would have been fun to see the big kraken in G4, but we don't get to see that. Instead, we get the just this one.
Yeah.
He's got a sidekick, the lobster, the
Who's
purple
very
lobster.
annoying. Yeah.
Hmm.
Just sort of the like I mean, we've seen this exact dynamic before of like here's the evil villain and their incompetent underling.
Yeah, yeah. This villain, not the most interesting. I mean, they're a kraken. They're on the water. They're a tyrannical leader. We're gonna get so many tyrannical leaders in this. So like, he's just on the bottom of the list of that. But yeah,
Yeah.
huge lack of imagination with his amulet of power. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
In terms of the visuals, like I do think the ghost design is fun. I
yeah.
wish we had gotten more. Again, I grew up watching Scooby Doo, Where Are You? So I enjoy that kind of style of animation. But yeah, obviously
Yeah,
after the first episode, that entire plot line is completely dropped.
yeah. Plus all the animation errors. Um,
Yes.
Like, of course, the ghost changes color for some reason, but then, that's just the usual animation errors. Ponies floating
Yeah.
in midair, ponies speaking with the wrong voice. There was one shot where a pony just they inverted that pony's color and it was weird looking for a frame. So um that's yeah, unlike G4, I'm not going to list all the animation errors. There's like the lists are very long
Uh-huh.
for the animation errors, so I'm not going to do that. Uh, Pluma is a bird.
Yeah, I think they do a good job of giving her sort of this otherworldly type design. Um not quite as good as the ghost, but I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah, underwater stuff. The very short glimpses that they do stuff in it, it was fun.
Yeah.
Um, but like again, you expect more of it when you have like a squid villain, and there should have been more sea ponies. So
uh,
yeah. Onto performances. The cast for this one here. Went to the Pony Wiki for this one because I can't trust IMDb because
yeah.
they don't put much effort into this one. But we have Bettina Bush as Megan, Carrie Holland, Scott Menville, Charlie Adler, Suzanne Blue, Katie Lee, Nancy Cartwright, Sherry Lynn, Jill Wayne, Jeannie Elias, Sarah Partridge, and Frank Welker. Welker being, of course, the big name in this one, doing almost
Yeah.
everything out there. Uh,
Speaking of Scooby Doo,
Speaking Scooby Doo, he's Squirk. I'm pretty sure he's also the grandpa bird. and
Okay.
maybe a couple other things. I think he's also the ghost as well. They don't credit that,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure I heard it in the voice.
Yeah. There these are performances. Again, this is very 1980s animation
Yeah, there's a
performances.
lot of names here that start with baby, baby Gusty, baby Shady, um, and I'm pretty sure we get Gusty and Shady. Yep, in this one. So if you're not confused, then oh boy, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yep. Yeah, we have four songs in this one for the four parts. And the songs are "It's All in Your Imagination," "I'd Get Out Fast If I Were You," "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet," and "In No Time at All." And the first one, "It's All in Your Imagination," this was when I first noticed that Megan got recasted because I had mentioned before, I really liked her songs before when it was the other um, actress. And this one doesn't she doesn't sing quite as well,
No.
because
Yeah.
she this one is a lullaby, and we have heard a previous lullaby before, and like that was fantastic. This one, rough, really rough, and
Yeah.
it's sad.
Yeah.
But
There's like
her Megan voice does sound very similar, so
yeah.
that's why I think she was cast.
Yeah. There's just overall the music this time around. I'm pretty sure it's like a writing thing as well as a performance thing, but the lyrics don't fit in the music.
Okay.
There's a lot of the stuff you'll hear of, like, I think in this one it's especially like stretching something in an awkward way in order to make it fit the music, like
Hmm.
stretching a word or something. It was
Sure.
just, it didn't sound natural. It didn't sound, it sounded like the music and the lyrics were written entirely separate from each other, and then the performers had to figure it out for
Hmm.
themselves.
Yeah. And they chose some very interesting voices for all these songs. "I Get Out Fast If I Were You." The ghost voice is just, oh man, I totally want to listen to that over and over again.
Yeah,
um
I think that one was definitely better. I think You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet in No Time at All were both the ones where I was more noticing the lyrics not quite matching up with the
mhm.
music.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best musical, like, instrumental one was "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet." The ending of that song goes into like this very hard guitar riff, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
man, where was that for the entire song? Why is the coolest sounding bit the end? Oh, what a shame.
Yeah,
So
and it is like that is one of the better songs, but again, just the lyrics aren't don't fit well, and so it ends up being a bit of
yeah,
a yeah.
I don't care for any of these vocals as well. So they're not designed to be sung.
uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, this was just, again, I it got my hopes up briefly, and then I was just completely out of it by the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see. We'll see how we start feeling like there'll be better stories ahead. I'm looking forward to when we
Yeah.
get to those, the stories I actually like. So yep. Ghost of Paradise Estate, the last of Bloom for this specific series. So um goodbye, Bloom. Thanks for starting things out. But now let's see what our other writers do with this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I am curious to see someone else tackle this, and maybe it'll feel different. I'm kind of hoping so, because after this many times of having the same writer doing essentially the same thing, like,
Hmm.
yeah, I'm ready for any change at all.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll have to find out. So yeah.
Yep.
Thank you everyone for listening, and make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Blue Sky and Serialized, and Binging Barbie Barbie Movie Podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. And we'll be back next week as we begin our journey into season 2 of Friendship is Magic. And also, make sure to check out our bonus episode reviewing season 1 on the Patreon. So, yep.
Yeah.
Until then, ghosts. No ghosts.
I ain't afraid of no ghosts. Some ghosts I'm afraid of, but no
Ooh.
ghosts I'm not afraid of.
Bye, ponies.
Bye, ponies.